So, Paul, Monday morning, first one that you've come into work with a win on your back. A happier feeling?
Yeah, it feels nice because obviously because we've won a football match. Yeah, I thought the lads worked really hard Saturday. Thought we created a few good chances, but I must stress that there's a lot of things we need to and we'll get better at than what we showed on Saturday.
Just picking up a point from Saturday, then obviously you had a couple of defenders out injured. What's the situation with them? I think it was John Thompson and Martin Riley.
Yeah, well, obviously everyone knows about Reece. Hopefully Reece will start full-time training this morning, which will be a massive plus for us. John Thompson picked up a knock on Friday in training, just in his a muscle in his hip. Probably be fit for the weekend match. What we don't want to do with John, we don't want to rush him back and lose him. And Martin Riley's picked up this 24-hour bug that's actually going around. So we've lost one or two this morning with the bug. So, but yeah, I mean to say that we lost three experienced boys like that. Defensively, I thought we looked decent.
What other areas of the pitch and the squad are you pretty pleased with at the moment?
I'm pleased with it overall. I mean, at this early stage, we're having so many players. I think it's 15, 16 players now we've brought in. I thought we looked. I've got to be mindful of the fact that we were playing Halifax. We've been favourites for the Conference North, and any team in non-league football next season is going to struggle going there, whether it's in the league or whether any of the cup competitions. We went there. You could probably say a little bit under strength in terms of a defensive cover, but. When Paul Boland played his first 45, and obviously he was going to be a bit rusty, but great to see him back playing on the pitch. But I just thought in general we can't turn a nose up at going to somewhere like Halifax and winning 1-0 at this stage. So I was chuffed overall.
Looking at the upcoming games, then we're at about the halfway point in pre-season. Does training step up a gear now? I
think we're looking at sharpening it up now. Some of the things that annoyed me Saturday is that our sharpness when in possession and when not in possession we looked a little bit sluggish. Obviously the lads have done a lot of base running, as we call it, where the lads are running really hard. Now we're looking to sharpen things up, physically and mentally.
Looking at Lyndon Meikle as well, he went off late on Saturday. Is he all right now? Is it just precaution?
No, he came off. He tweaked his ankle ligaments on Friday as well. The session on Friday resembled a war zone after we'd finished. But no, he's going to be probably okay for Saturday, I think.
Hence for tomorrow night then, what do you think they'll test about your side?
I think they'll test the mental side of us. I've known Rob and Larry, the two managers, for a very long time now. And they've been very, very successful in non-league football. The time at Telford was probably one of the most successful in the club's history. The team that they'll put out tomorrow night will work us really hard. They'll test our physicality, how we deal with it. Because they don't believe in friendlies. Those two, it'll be a full-blooded encounter. But it's something that I want. Like I said, I want to pick holes in us again. For different reasons, and it'll give us a stern test.
You mentioned there about the mental side of the game. Is that something that you're really keen on testing, trying to test the lads out on it, and something which you might think will help your side later on in the season?
Yeah, I want to find out about players. Right from the start, the players I inherited. Obviously, I've seen players that have come into the club, but working with them on a day-to-day basis. The mental side of the game's the most important thing for me. I want players who are going to be. We're going to be consistent for 46 games next season. I don't want lads that when the pitches are nice and the sun's shining are going to turn it on. But obviously when we're going away on a wet cold Tuesday night, might not fancy it. So it's about finding the men out from the boys. And like I say, for me there's an awful long way to go in pre-season. And I want to pick even more holes out of us to make sure that not just for the first game of the season, but for when we're coming around the bend at Christmas time, that we've got a nucleus of players here. That are going to do it for an entire season.
Just looking at the size of your squad, then do you think you might be adding one or two more in the next week or so?
That's a $64 million question. If good players become available, then I'd like to think that we're in for them. I'm happy with what we've got now. I think at the next game, I'd like to look at some of the players that haven't had a full run out just to see what we've got consistently in reserve. But obviously, we want to go in and we want to build on from Saturday. So it might be a happy medium on Tuesday where You know, like I say, we have a look at one or two. One or two have played an awful lot of games. You got Adam Murray, Paul Connor, John Worthington, Richard Sutton, that played a lot of football for pre-season now. So it might be time just to have a look at one or two others.
Looking there about, you mentioned like the kind of reserve and backup players going a little bit lower than that. The youth team, they've had a pretty good start. Have you managed to have a look at a few of the kids yet?
I haven't had a look. No, we've got a practice game, behind closed doors game penciled in for this Thursday, which. I'm eager to have a look at for one or two reasons. It gets some of the lads that need a game 90 minutes in the first team squad, and as importantly as that, to have a look at some of these kids. I've spoke to Mark and Steve, and they're raving about some of the young lads we've got coming through, and I'm under the philosophy that if you're good enough, you're old enough. So if some of these kids are coming through this season. And they're good enough, we'll want them in and around the first team as soon as possible.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thank you.
Behind closed doors friendly, is that an inter-squad thing or is that another team coming in?
No, that's against the U team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically it'll be sort of like, depending on what numbers we've got, because we've had like a few illnesses this morning with this 24-hour diarrhoea and sickness bug that's going around, but obviously with a few knocks, we want to make sure that we've got bodies to do it, but yeah, I think it'll definitely go ahead if I'm honest, because there's about 22 U team players, so it'll give me the chance to get one or two players that haven't had a large chunk of game time to get 90 minutes under the belt, and more importantly, like I say, I wouldn't say more importantly, but as important, it'd be the chance to see some of these younger players playing, and in a competitive environment where they're competing against men. So, but if you've seen some of the size of some of them are quite decent in terms of the physicality. It's the sort of tactical side of the game and the mental side of the game that I want to see if they're ready, and if they are ready, they'll be in and around the first team as quick as possible. Local boys, like I say, if they're good enough, no matter whose position they're in, if there's someone that's not pulling the weight, the young lads will be in there.
What's the latest on Anthony Elding? Has he gone to Stockport?
I don't know at this minute. Like I say, we put an offer to him. As far as I was concerned, his agent said to me that he was going to sign for Plymouth or going down to Plymouth, and that's the sort of latest that we sort of heard from him. I think Anthony's one of these lads that, he's obviously, you can just tell by what's happened at Plymouth that he's quite single-minded in what he wants, and I think he'll make a decision as and when.
You're not going to be chasing it up anymore. You just like.
I'm not going to chase him. We've agreed a fee with Rochdale, which shows our intent, and two, we put what I thought was an excellent offer to the lad. Obviously Stockport seem to have come into a bit of money, and we finished the season last year at Stockport, and as well as that, I think there is. I don't think it's just ourselves in Stockport. I think that was just the non-league paper. I think there's more teams involved in the hunt. But obviously, Anthony's not in a rush to sign anyway. If he had, he could have settled for league football at a big club last week. So there might be a surprise on it. In there. There's always one that comes out the closet, I say, and comes in with a late offer. And Nick's a lad.
You mentioned the 24-hour book. Then who might be struggling with that?
Adam Murray's got that. Neil Collett's got that. We had Paul Riley that was missing that on Saturday. He had it Friday night. There's three at the minute that sort of locked. So we want to try and lock it down as quick as possible.
So they all struggling for tomorrow, do you think?
Well, I think Adam Murray, from what I gather from Adam says, his kids have had it. It's a case of just seeing what we don't want to do is drag people back, put them into a fiery encounter, and it has an adverse effect on the lad. So I'm hoping the back, but what we don't want to do, we don't want to bring it into the camp and for it to go through the camp. It's we've got to try and isolate it.
Yeah.